go. There we go.
Nice.
All right. Supposedly. What is it? What's the correct terminology?
It is supposed.
Supposedly, it is recording, and we shall have a fine conversation about many things which will be recorded.
Indeed. I'm going to go to my office.
Right.
My study. I'm going to my study.
Do you smoke fine cigars there? Do you know, I actually don't like cigars much anymore. I'm like, they're just not that enjoyable.
I tried one the other day, and I was like, either it was a very bad cigar, or
that's just
I was
how
like,
cigars...
why did I ever like this?
Because they were cool and new, and now that they're not cool and new, you're like, they're not very good.
Yeah.
It's like most movies in the 1950s. They were amazing at the time because they were cool and new, but you just can't do it now that you know that there's better things out there, like not smoking cigars.
Yes.
Vaping in general.
It doesn't explain why old men like cigars, though.
Old men like cigars because it gives them an excuse to sit around doing nothing for a couple hours talking to dudes.
Yes.
And there is that whole like social lubricant. You were by yourself when you tried a cigar, I assume.
Yeah.
See?
I had a cigar. No, it was with people, and we all said the same thing. We're all like, "This is terrible." So
maybe the simulation, maybe the Matrix has been reprogrammed so that now cigars just don't taste very good.
Yeah, that's a good theory.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hi guys, welcome to the Freaking Epic Podcast. I am Zach, and I am joined today
Nate.
By Nate, who I just interrupted like 3 times. What's up, Nathan?
Oh, not much. I am just in a post-Chinese food coma.
Where'd you eat? Was it good?
It was good. It was just Panda Express.
Oh, okay. I don't know if that even counts as... Panda Express is not very good.
Okay. I live in...
right.
Davenport, Iowa.
Right.
Panda Express is the best Chinese.
That is really sad.
It is really sad. And it is totally true. There's just not good Chinese here.
Panda Express is run by a guy who once saw a movie about China. No one else in the entire city has ever even heard of China.
Yes.
Dude, I finally saw Book of Eli.
Ooh, nice.
So I remembered I know you've talked about that a few times, and you always mentioned that it was like a movie that you really thought I'd like. And so I was like, I bought a TV this week, or maybe this weekend. So now I finally have a television after my roommate has left, and I was like, just sitting down, like, you know what? I should watch a movie. It was weird. And so I sat down and watched it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really cool movie.
Yes, indeed. Isn't it on Netflix right now? Is it free?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Well, everything's free if you Google, but
yeah.
Or I don't Google anymore because Google's cracking down on that sort of thing. So I just go to the
You go to Yandex.com.
Yeah, I go to Russian Google because they will allow us to steal the Americans' movie making money for free.
Of course. Yes.
That's funny. Did I tell you that, or do you know that? Just is that a thing?
I knew that, but I feel like I know it because you told me that.
Oh, okay. So, I was wondering if that was just a common thing. Like people are like, I'm like, because you can't like go to Chinese Google because they'll have everything censored. But I'm like, Russia, they would benefit from us not paying Hollywood their dollars. So, so I watched the movie, and there's like a few nitpicks I have with it and stuff, which we can talk about in a bit. But I really enjoyed kind of I've been feeling like really down and kind of purposeless and like, what am I doing in life? as I am wont to do. But like that really like restored my faith in God almost. Like it was like, oh yeah, that is kind of how things work. Like it doesn't matter even if you're just following a voice to nowhere. Like just the end when he spoilers by the way will abound.
Yes.
The end when he just like gets on the water, I'm like, what is happening? Oh my goodness, he's going to Alcatraz. And then like the fact that they had, printing press and he was able just like all of this stuff made sense. And it wasn't even for him is a kind of a cool thing. Like, well, I
Yeah.
don't know about cool. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of like real life. Like a lot of times you're not doing these things for your benefit and for your life. You're doing them for the people following after you to kind of blaze a
Right.
trail, create like a world that's better for them.
Well, yeah. In that sense, I'm kind of. I loved the movie. Well, there's a lot to say about it.
Yeah.
I get that people gave the movie a lot of hate. It did not get good
Oh,
reviews,
really? No, I thought it
and
got. I thought it got pretty solid reviews.
it got 47%.
Oh, geez.
And the reason is basically our culture um, does not like religious movies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
nobody
not at all.
knew. And I feel like the marketing kind of tricked people into seeing it. It was Denzel, and people didn't know it was a religious movie. And then they go in and they're like, "Oh, the Bible," and they're like, "I hate the Bible."
Yeah.
But me, I love the Bible, and so It was like an extra bonus. I was like, I didn't know either. Nobody knew. I went to the movie. I was like, this is gonna be good. I want to see Denzel, kick some zombie butt, and then it turns into this like religious kind of parable almost.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed it immensely, and I enjoyed the message immensely, and I especially liked that Denzel's character.
Yeah.
He has a calling on his life, and he knows what that calling is,
Yeah.
and he has a specific purpose, and it's a big purpose. So,
And I
and that,
liked. I like
yeah,
too that he eventually kind of came to the point where he realized that his purpose wasn't just his purpose, if that makes sense. Like his purpose is to do the things that makes his purpose worthwhile in the first place.
yeah,
Like, his purpose isn't just to ignore everything and walk. His purpose is like if he actually trusts in God and believes in God, he doesn't have to just avoid everything in life. He can actually be a part of the world and still trust that God will make it, get him to where he needs to go.
yeah. Yes, indeed. And so, did you like the the violence in the movie, the limbs chopping off, and all of that stuff?
I feel like you're saying this because you are giggling gleefully, like, yes, it was delightful. is that a correct assumption, my good sir?
Some of it, yes, yeah. No, actually, even though some of the violence is pretty graphic, I thought that the staging of a lot of the scenes was really good.
Yeah,
Really well
well,
done.
I really liked the kind of the very first piece because like you kind of have this really slow like no talking for like 6 or 7 minutes, which I by the way I really enjoy almost all movies that start with like 5 minutes of no talking. I think I've enjoyed every one I've seen that started like that. Like,
Really?
yeah. I mean, granted, the only one I can think of right now is the only other one I can think of at this exact moment is the Samurai Jack movie, which is probably not a very convincing a very convincing argument, but like I really like when that kind of the slow pace of the very first. It's just a really long shot, and then it kind of establishes like, oh, there's a dead body here, and he's like someone's hunting cats, and it just gives like this real kind of it gives you an understanding of what the vibe's going to be. You kind of immediately kind of what feel you're in for, and then I liked that like there was almost like a shock to your system of like slow, kind of slow burn, not much happening. And then you still, when Denzel's involved, or Eli, or whatever his name is, I don't know. I assume that's the name of just whoever he got the backpack from. Um,
Yeah.
but I like the idea that he's kind of like this slow, methodical character, and he just kind of like, you think nothing's. I mean, that there's going to be a fight and he's going to kill people because you're like, well, I mean, it's an action movie, it's going to happen. But
Yeah.
he just kind of very slowly backs away into the bridge, and
Yeah.
then it just kind of all of a sudden happens, and I feel like that's just kind of an interesting way to go about violence, is like it's sudden and it happens and it's horrifying in real life, because that's kind of how violence in real life isn't like violence in movies, where it's kind
Right.
of like almost, I mean, this movie was obviously stylized, but where it's like stylized and like almost slow motion. Like this was like quick and brutal,
Yeah.
and then it's like that and then that sparked, like, the entire first fight scene was maybe what, 30 seconds, but
Yeah.
it was really well done, and it was like, it was such a kind of, it like set your expectations for the movie, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. What do you call it when you have just the silhouettes? Maybe that's the word of characters fighting. They did that in the James Bond movie Skyfall. I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah.
Which of course Roger Deakins made it look really cool, but yeah, that scene, there's like a whole 10 seconds where you just see their shadows, and it's kind of like a comic book. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I thought, and it was cool. Like, okay, so going in, I assumed from you, but it could have been from someone else. Like, I knew the plot twist going in, which was, again,
Oh,
spoilers, all of the spoilers. So that probably, changed how I experienced the movie. But I was thinking, oh, he's backing up into the tunnel so he can use echolocation to like figure out
ah.
their
So
locations.
you
Because
knew beforehand, before watching it, you knew that he was blind?
yeah, I think I
Hmm.
think I think you told me, or maybe someone else did.
Oh,
So that kind, I mean, but I tried to think, like, if I didn't know, how would I feel about this? Actually, and if I didn't know, like, I think I probably would have enjoyed it a little more if I didn't know. But still, even knowing, it was still,
oh,
um, there was really something about the way the movie went that I couldn't predict what was going to happen. Like, a lot of movies, you kind of know what's going to happen. This one,
yeah.
I legit didn't know where it was going.
That's probably like the biggest predictor if I will like a movie is um, how unpredictable it is.
Oh, interesting.
In which one of my biggest pet peeves these days is when the plot of a movie is mostly given away in the trailer. And I
Yeah.
watch the movie and I'm like, yep, tick off that plot point and then check off that plot point. And there's no mystery, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
So I feel that way about a lot of movies. So I'm considering movies that I really I know I'm going to be into. I'm considering not watching trailers for,
That's
because
what I do.
I know that I think I will enjoy them a lot more if I don't know what's going to happen. So,
So
but
what I
yeah,
do is, any movie that I know for sure I'm going to watch, I don't watch a trailer. I just know that it'll lessen my enjoyment of it.
yeah. Uh,
There is something nice about kind of what Marvel's doing, where they put fake plot points in their trailers.
yes,
Um,
yes, I do appreciate that.
yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. Like, the whole pacing of the movie was odd, because it was that super slow, and then that like fast fight scene, and then kind of back to super slow, and then you didn't know until you saw Mila Kunis. You didn't really know. In a movie, there's always going to be at least two main characters. There's never going to be just one person. There's always going to be, like, a side character or something. But
Yeah,
until you saw Mila Kunis, you were like, where's this going? There's not even going to be a side character, maybe.
yeah,
Um, I like the plot point about kind of the shaky hands. Oh, I really like the way they didn't. I mean, they spelled things out for you, but they didn't like beat you over the head with it. Like, they
yeah,
didn't beat you over the head with like what these details mean. And I think that's something pretty important to world building. Like, a lot of movies kind
yeah,
of go, this is what every single character is and what every single thing means. But I like it.
yep,
Like, people talk about Donnie Darko or
yep,
Inception, because in large part they want to figure out what the meaning was, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really well. The world building was great. I don't know about you, but I watch movies like that, and I always ask, what would I do if there was an apocalypse? And it was the movie came out in 2009, and I also if I remember right, 2009 was like peak Zombieland.
Oh yeah.
The first one came out in 2009, and so we were at like peak zombie. So I was like, it was a refreshing post-apocalyptic take. There were no zombies. There were just
cannibals.
Yeah, just cannibals.
Shaky-handed cannibals. Is that a real thing? Just like eating a lot of human? I mean, I assume we don't know anyone who's eaten enough. Okay, that can't be a real thing. They had to have just made that up. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, but it makes you want to Google it. Like,
yeah, like I feel like without that movie, no one would Google that, and also without that movie, everyone would be too afraid to Google that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what the CIA's like, what is he? Oh, okay, he just watched Book of Eli. All right, carry on, unflag. It just the whole. I don't know. It kind of woke up my spirit a little bit. It was really nice just to have that kind of like explanation of purpose, and it was kind of cool because it felt like it was it felt like it was people who were making people who believed in God but weren't necessarily Christian, making a movie about that, because it didn't. It never felt like it was. It felt more like it was apologizing for being a movie about Christianity than anything.
Yeah.
But it was also like, I don't know. It was really well done. It was really good. I mean, so nitpicks. I thought that I love the color tone in the movie, but a lot of it looked like they just slapped a color filter on a regular shot.
Yeah, when they do a long shot of the sky, especially, and you're like, oh, that's just a filter. Okay.
Instagram has probably ruined us for that. I'm like, okay, so they applied a filter, and because the lighting behind it was pretty standard daytime lighting. I felt like.
Yeah.
So that was probably my biggest qualm with it. It was just like, okay, it doesn't look like anything. Like you watch a game like The Hunger Games or a movie like The Hunger Games, and the coloration just feels so much different than it did in this movie. This movie the coloration felt cheap.
Yeah. I have like same niggle with some of the cinematography, just feeling a little jarring and unrealistic. And Mila Kunis's acting being a little stiff and a little wooden.
Yeah, I actually did think Mila Kunis, that's weird. That's probably the first time I've ever thought that, but Mila Kunis she felt like she was in a slightly different movie.
Yeah. Which maybe that's just because we're trained to think of her that way because she is in rom-coms and That 70s Show.
But I've seen her in everything. I mean, she's in all sorts of films, and she's always been a good actress in everything I can think of.
Yeah. Maybe she was a little bit miscast for the part, but it didn't harm the movie, I don't think. So the thing I actually enjoyed almost the most about Book of Eli is some of the little touches in it, and there are two little things that I just was in love with. First of all, I think the score has this kind of like electronic score and these really long, like droning guitar kind of swarthy tones while he's walking around the landscape. Yeah, it's just like a match made in heaven almost.
Yeah,
I could just watch Denzel walking around all day listening to that score. And then the very end of the movie, they have the score going again while the Bible's being made, and I just wanted to sit there for an hour watching the Bible be printed and listen to this score. I could literally just watch it all day. I was like, oh, please keep going. And then the movie ends, and I was just like craving more. I was like, I want more Bible making montage with this really cool score.
I
So
actually I made sure that the movie played the credits, because the credits are really long, like 5 minutes long or so, or 6 minutes long or something.
mhm.
And I just kind of walked around my house in the dark and with the music, just thinking about life. Like,
Yeah,
the score is so perfectly matched.
yeah,
It was, yeah. Okay. So, like, when Lord of the Rings, there's something about the way the score matches with the shots that
yeah,
it just feels like, I don't know, like it feels momentous. And
yeah,
it felt momentous, but it also felt like sad and hopeful. I really enjoy things that are like dystopian, sad, but there's a real hopeful streak in them.
hmm
I mean that's kind of Francis Schaeffer wrote a book called Art in the Bible, and
hmm
he kind of one of his theses was that Christian art should reflect the story of the world, which is kind of like, which is basically like a Lord of the Rings type thing where you're in a paradise, things are good, and then some sort of tragedy enters the world and darkness enters the world, and it gets worse and worse, and you have to journey through it with some companions, and then someone sacrifices something, and then but then kind of the point of a Christian thing versus another thing is it ends with the redemption, with the resurrection, kind of
yeah,
with like it, like this book, like, or that movie, because like it was, the whole time everything's terrible, but at the very end you're like, oh yeah, it's all going to come back, they're going to remake it, and it's going to be okay.
yeah. Uh, yeah. I'm sad that um, the movie got a lot of hate
That's so silly, because it was, I
from
mean,
reviewers.
to be fair, if I were a reviewer, I might hit, like, if I were going in seeing all the other movies around 2009, like I could see how the coloration would feel a bit cheap, and like, I don't know, but it was good. Like,
Yeah,
just the little details of Denzel like feeling around for things, but like so subtly that you wouldn't have known he was blind unless you were told beforehand
yeah.
or
And
had
the
watched the
moment that I
movie.
found out, I actually was like, no way, I have to go back and watch this movie.
Did you?
So, oh yeah, yeah. I don't know if I watched it again in the theater, but I've watched it many times at home.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Like because I was watching it because I was like, well, let's find out if this spoiler is true. And then when he's kind of like, he always like sniffs a little bit, or like he listens a lot, like he stumbles over a lot of things in ways you think are just stumbles, but they're it was really interesting. I liked the fact that he always, so his first fight scene was in a bridge, so I mean, it's pretty unrealistic, but movie logic, whatever. You could kind of make a case for like the echolocation thing,
okay.
like he's hearing.
Yes, I actually thought after I've watched it a few times, I watched the movie and I think this guy's a superhero and his superpower is the Holy Spirit. Because I'm watching these fight scenes and I'm like, oh, he should have died right there, or he like dodged a bullet and that was the Holy Spirit like helping him. So
I love that though. There's like an excuse for it. Movies are always like doing that, but in
yeah,
this one, and I like that he did get shot toward the end.
yeah,
Like I don't know. Usually there's kind of the bad guy pulls you out and has this big momentous thing and shoots you, and it's like, oh man, it was only that the main guy was shooting you. Of course, you couldn't get hit by the henchman, but it
yeah.
didn't feel that way in this. It didn't feel the same kind of silliness about it.
Yeah, that moment in the movie where he gets shot, I had this gut reaction like, God, where are you? Almost like, why have you forsaken me? Kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so I think it's just a little bit of a wink and a nod to him being a Christ figure. So
Well, I think it's also too, like it was the crisis of faith. It was the moment of like
Yeah.
what you actually believe. And
Yeah.
because the devil will blast you, will hit you with stuff. And especially there'll be a moment where everything you've ever done feels like it's worthless, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like that's guaranteed. And I don't know. It was interesting because I was like, well, he can't die. How does I assumed that he had like hidden the real book, like he'd replaced the pages,
Yeah.
fake pages. But then when it kind of came out that it was Braille, and then the girl who was the Gary Oldman's kind of sidekick, I guess, like
Yeah.
slash wife slash slave.
Yeah.
Like when she wouldn't read it for him, I was like, "Oh man, that's such a like it's such a beautiful way to go about it." Like, and
Yeah.
her daughter, like, like he couldn't have the truth, the powerful words very specifically because he wasn't worthy of them. If he had been worthy or even become worthy, he could
Yeah.
have had, like, if he would have been like, hey, if he would have actually done something with Mila Kunis's character, and like, if he would have done right, he could have had what he wanted. But it's kind of fun because, like, in the real world, once your motivations change, you don't want the exact same things, even though you could have them now
Yeah.
that you have the right motivations. It's really strange. I
Yeah.
thought,
I really dug Gary Oldman's character. I know that
yeah,
he's probably typecast as the bad guy in too many movies, but he is a great actor, and I loved him in that Book of Eli. And I loved I loved that they were kind of saying, you know, just because people misuse the Bible doesn't negate the Bible.
yeah, yeah,
I absolutely loved that, and I didn't even know that he was talking about the Bible until the end of the movie. But then I rewatch it, and he's like those TV preachers almost that are just
yeah,
blatantly manipulative, and you just kind of feel gross about. And he knows that there is power to manipulate in the book. And I was just like,
yeah.
oh, that's good stuff.
I wish I knew it also the whole time. Like, I feel like you or someone else told me that it was the Bible. So like I knew the two main plot twists like
Yeah,
before, but if I hadn't known, that would have been really cool actually.
yeah,
Although I guess, once you saw the cross, like it would have been like, oh yeah.
yeah. Yes, indeed.
I like the little like he prays with Mila and then she prays with her mom, like just the kind of mimetic nature of faith, like
Yeah,
that you pass on things that work and things that make life better, and there is real power in like I don't know, there's like an expression of caring and gratitude that doesn't happen in a lot of non-Christian life. Now, non-Christians are kind of starting to realize this and kind of creating their own versions of religion, but like there's just and there's real power in prayer, even not just in the metaphysical reality of prayer, like God
hmm,
listening to you, like,
yeah,
but even in the way we're designed, like it creates in us a psychological impact, a psychological kind of it has a psychological impact that's powerful.
yeah. Totally.
Yeah. So anyway, I was very glad I watched that movie, and you were right. I did like it. Like I can see where the issues would come in, but
Hmm.
like if people can overlook the fact that uh, outrage alert, Star Wars makes no dang sense. Like the like I like the new Force Awakens that everyone loved. It
Yeah,
was it was literally the most plot hole ridden movie I've seen in my entire life. And
yeah,
if people are okay with that, they could be okay with like some little niggling things with Book of Eli.
yeah. I totally agree. Did you get to see Joker yet?
No, I haven't. I actually I didn't want to go during opening weekend because before the news said anything, I always just assumed there'd be a mass shooting. And then I feel like the news tried to make one happen, but
yeah,
didn't.
it definitely felt that way.
Like, I was posting memes, like not on Facebook, but on kind of alternate social media sites where I can post edgier stuff. But
Yeah.
I was posting memes about like the media poking Joker with a stick, like, oh, come on, cause a mass shooting.
Exactly. It's exactly what it felt like they were doing. So.
But anyway, so I have not seen it because I didn't see it during opening weekend for that, and I haven't seen it since because I'm lazy and don't go to the movie theater.
Yeah, I am. I I came to a realization the other day. I can't remember what movie I watched. It was something forgettable though. This was like last week, and that is this. I just don't enjoy going to the movies as much as I used to.
Yeah, so I think there's something about when we loved going to the movies, we were 17, 19, we were trying to
Yeah,
get out of the house and do something. So
yeah,
there's kind of like an escape. So it created kind of a psychological thing in our minds where we felt like, because it was true, we felt like that was our salvation, like that was our escape from home. So, but
yeah,
now we don't feel like that. We feel like it's work, and
yeah.
it's good. It's still good and worthwhile work, but it's work to go out and go to the movies.
It is, and it's expensive, and there's so much good TV on right now. And besides that, even I mean, not only is there good TV, but there's good cinema. Like I don't know if have been watching the Irishman trailers. It could be Martin Scorsese's best film ever, and it's just gonna come to Netflix.
Wow. Confession: I have never seen a Scorsese film.
Never seen Goodfellas.
No, seen a. No, actually, I don't think I've even seen a bit of it. Is Goodfellas the one with Sean Connery?
No.
That's the Untouchables. I've seen that. I haven't. So no, I have not. I've never seen a Scorsese film. I've never seen a Tarantino film.
Okay.
I'm an uncultured swine.
All right. I should not recommend this being your first Scorsese movie, but I'm going to anyways. You should check out The Wolf of Wall Street.
I don't wanna. It looks awful.
It is one of the dirtiest movies I've ever seen, so I can't recommend it on like a moral level, but it's also one of the most interesting movies and one of the most well-made movies I think I've ever seen.
Really?
And it's got Leonardo DiCaprio just chews up every scene he's in. And it's got this scene with Matthew McConaughey where he's training Leo's character in how to do drugs and make millions on Wall Street, and he's only in the movie for like a minute, and it's one of the greatest minutes in cinema.
I heard that was actually not a movie thing. Like they saw Matt McConaughey doing that to warm himself up, and basically, I don't know exactly what the thing was, but I read an article that basically that was how he pumps himself up to act.
Wow.
Like every day. And they basically just said, screw what we wrote, do that instead. That's better.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I don't know if there's like a PG-13 version out there.
I am a grown man. I have seen the South Park film. I have seen many horrible things. I've seen many things far more horrible than would be available on a movie screen, so it's fine.
Dang, yep. Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street is probably the raunchiest movie I think I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, wow.
But it's well made. It's like The Social Network of Wall Street
never saw
movies.
The Social Network because... Well, so I saw the movie you recommended, Moneyball, and I get that it was wonderful and great, but it just didn't click for me. And I feel
do you like baseball?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. If you have romantic feelings about baseball, you will like Moneyball.
Okay, and I did when I was a kid, I guess, but also I'm just not much of a drama guy. I love movies with drama that are cut with something else. Like I want all the drama of a drama, just make it happen to superheroes or make it happen in Victorian England or something. Like
Yeah.
or in the zombie apocalypse. Well, not the zombie apocalypse, but any other apocalypse.
Man, it stinks that I don't live near you because I can't physically force you to watch something.
You have, I mean, several of my. I I don't know why I've been thinking about this, but the South Park movie I was forced to watch.
Really?
Yeah, my friend Big Mike, who died now, by the way.
Oh,
Sad.
yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that is sad.
Um, but he literally forced me to watch it. Like he turned it on, and I was like, no, I refuse to watch this. It's garbage. It's horrible, and I refuse to watch it. Blah blah blah. And he's like, you're gonna watch 10 minutes of this, and then we'll turn it off. And I was like, fine. And then I was like, okay, this is awesome. I watched the whole thing. You know, and then you and Justin kept making me watch horrible films like constantly. Thankfully, I never had to watch The Cell. I always escaped whenever you guys tried to make me watch that.
Yeah, the Cell still disturbs me to this day. It's one of those movies I just don't like to think about because it's uncomfortable.
You watched it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I was a glutton for punishment, I guess you could say.
I can't think of one that you guys forced me to watch that I loved, but I'm positive there were many.
I will never watch Van Wilder again.
Oh God, like everyone in the theater threw up.
Yeah.
I think I was the only one who didn't throw up, and I was dry heaving.
Yeah, it was bad.
Okay, see, that's the worst movie.
Yeah,
like Wolf of Wall Street doesn't make you throw up, I assume.
No, but he does do Quaaludes, and there's just like a bunch of like everything that happens to everybody. You're like, it's a perfect anti-hero movie.
Okay, by the way, I've looked this up before because I never know. But what the heck is a Quaalude? It's a downer, right? It's like a Ambien almost or something.
Yeah, I actually don't know, but he mixes it with something, and then he's unable to walk and talk, so he can only like crawl around and curse. So.
That sounds hilarious or horrifying.
10 minutes of the movie is him and Jonah Hill wrestling, trying to kill each other, but they're both on drugs and they can't walk properly. And then he gets into like a $200,000 Lamborghini and crashes it.
Okay, that sounds like a Family Guy episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so you haven't seen a single Martin Scorsese film? Wow.
No, I've never seen. I was going to watch my first Quentin Tarantino film because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was like, okay, that actually looks pretty cool. So I might watch my first Quentin Tarantino film. So that's something. I almost watched the movie The Departed was based off of, the Korean version.
Okay.
Or Japanese, I forget which.
Yeah, I'm going to recant about Wolf of Wall Street. You should watch The Departed for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say Departed seems like one I would actually enjoy.
Actually, Hugo is a kid's movie. You might like it.
Oh, okay. I take it back. I've seen Hugo. Hugo wasn't very good. It was extraordinarily well made, but also It was boring and dumb, and I didn't like it. There was just no point.
Yeah, the point is it's like, hey, look at how beautiful movies are.
Yeah, I get that, but so was The Majestic, and The Majestic made me feel that.
I'm looking at Scorsese. I never watched Gangs of New York, but he did that.
It seems like a movie you would probably enjoy. You and Justin should watch that without me sometime.
I've seen Casino.
Oh, okay, I take it back. I've seen like I don't know where and how I watched it, but I've seen like bits and pieces of it. So I've seen like probably half to 2/3 of Casino. So, and
Okay.
it was good, but not my jam. Like,
Okay.
I could see how people would enjoy it and how it was good, but it just wasn't quite my thing.
Yeah.
Which is actually exactly what I felt like about Martin Scorsese. So that does make me feel better. That makes me feel like my predictions were accurate.
If you want to watch a movie and literally feel like you're going insane, watch Shutter Island.
No, I don't want to feel like I'm going insane. I watched this just terrible movie, awful. You should never watch it, but not in
Okay.
like a bad way. It's just a bad movie. Um, but Adrian Grenier was in it, and I liked Adrian Grenier, so I was like, yeah, I'll watch it because that guy's cool. And then it was called Harvard Man, and it has like a 10-minute drug sequence because you were talking about 10-minute drug sequences, but he's
Mm-hmm.
like basically high on LSD, and it introduced me to the concept that maybe you just don't stop tripping on LSD, and it just
Oh.
freaked me out for the rest of my life.
Ooh, yeah.
Because it felt like, so when I was a kid, I had Alice in Wonderland syndrome. So
Mm-hmm.
watching their depiction of his never-ending LSD trip felt like, oh yeah, that was my childhood. Like I would
Yeah.
just have uncontrollable random LSD trips apparently, and they were awful.
Wow. What causes Alice in Wonderland syndrome?
It's just like a brain growing weird.
Hmm.
I mean, I've only looked into it like very briefly enough to go, oh yeah, that's what I had. That's like, I don't remember where it came up, but I was like, oh yeah, that describes every single symptom I had.
Well, will you agree to watch The Irishman if it stays at 100% good reviews?
I will agree to watch The Joker.
Okay,
Have you watched it?
I have.
Oh, nice. What'd you think?
So, I don't want to tell you what I thought until I watch.
Okay, I actually appreciate that. I would.
Yes.
I'm. Yeah. I'm. It is the. I've. It is the movie I want most to watch of all the movies I can think of that are out or coming out. Although there
Mm-hmm.
are a few that actually look kind of cool. Like, I liked the trailer for The Goldfinch. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
just looked beautiful, but then the reviews were pretty bad, so I was like, eh. The reviews were basically looks beautiful, means nothing, and I was like, well, I'll watch it on eventually if I'm into movies and someone's hanging out with me and we want to watch it.
Yes. Yeah, I think that I would classify myself as a sort of a cinephile. So
Sure.
I almost feel obligated to watch certain movies by acclaimed directors. Would you classify yourself as a cinemaphile or just an entertainment aficionado? Or somewhere in between?
I would classify myself as a contrarian cinephile. So
Okay.
I have the same exact feeling. However, I refute. I basically have this belief that certain people are pretentious and overrated, and I kind of almost on principle, like people who hate whatever pop musician is popular at the time. I'm kind
Yeah.
of that when it comes to cinema. So I'm always like, Tarantino's dumb, and I hate him. Like, I'm sure he's not, but like, to be fair though, almost every Academy Award winning film I've watched, probably 2 out of 3, maybe 3 out of 4, I have disliked pretty intensely. Like, didn't like A Beautiful
Well,
Mind,
that's
didn't
been
like
true.
American Beauty, didn't like
Yeah, that's been true of half of movies since the year 2000. Um, a lot of
even
them just,
previous to that. I just
yeah.
don't like dramas, and what wins is dramas. And and a lot of the acclaimed movie producers and directors are all dramatic. Like they're action, but really they're drama. Like a Scorsese, all his movies, even though they're technically action films, I would guess they're all dramas. And so I just don't care for dramas. A and B, I just have uh, this rebellious streak in me that's like, never.
Mm.
I'm gonna like whatever everyone else thinks is dumb. I'm gonna opine on the cinematic vitality of the superhero genre.
Yeah. There is one movie that that could be made, is in being talks of being made by Tarantino, that you would probably like, and he's always wanted to make a rated R Star Trek movie.
That would be cool.
So, and I like that. Honestly, is just such a weird match. It almost just makes sense.
Well, I think Star Trek needs to be made by different people. It needs to have different flavors. Like,
Yeah.
Star Trek, it's sad that it feels like it's kind of dead. Like, no one talks about or thinks about Star Trek like they used to. And I miss that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been lots of great Star Trek TV. And
but
I'm excited to check out Picard when it comes out.
Oh, yeah, that could be good. Have you seen the new Discovery show?
No, I haven't.
No, me neither. Have you seen the Orville?
No, but I want to.
Yeah, it actually looks like, from what I've heard, it's actually more Star Trek than Seth MacFarlane. It's like it's basically like a 3/4 real take on him wanting to make Star Trek, and then like 1/4 just silly Seth MacFarlane comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it looks pretty cool. Like, I mean, now that I have a TV, I might watch that.
Indeed. I'm glad you have a TV.
Yeah, we should talk more, but we should save that for our next episode.
Indeed. It's been a pleasure, good sir.
It has. So thank you guys for listening. This has been the Freaking Epic Podcast.